Hi, Tate.
Hey Taylor, hey everybody, how you doing?
Doing well. Cool. I can bring your slides on stage if you're ready.
Perfect, let's do it.
Awesome. Thank you.
For sure, okay. Hey everybody, I'm Tate Masi. I'm a product manager for Adobe Express extensibility, and my main focus is on the end user discovery and use side of add-ons. So I'm super excited to be highlighting all the ways that we've enabled add-ons to be even more discoverable in the product, inspire some new ways that you can up-level your add-on, and highlight some of the upcoming improvements that we have planned through the rest of the year. So you all obviously have been hearing from my awesome colleagues and other Adobe partners about all the cool things you could build for Express. But of course, if you go through all that effort, you build and publish an add-on, you want users to actually find and use what you build. So I wanted to share what's possible today and plant some of that inspiration. And of course, feel free to add other ideas or suggestions in our chat pod, because a lot of the improvements we made this year were actually highly influenced from developer input. So we always appreciate hearing it. So let's go ahead and start off with just a little recap of the last year. Since our last Developers Live, we've added even more ways for users to discover add-ons. We've made several improvements to our more general marketplace experiences that allow users to browse and shop around for add-ons, but we've also rolled out a bunch of new places within key workflows in the product for users to discover add-ons at their highest point of relevancy. And across Express, we've basically found that the more we can focus the user on the specific next best action or contextually relevant tooling, even if it's third-party tooling, the more likely a user is to be successful in their workflow and return to the product later on. So it's a win for us and it's a win for our developer community. So we're taking that similar approach with add-ons, right? Placing add-ons in places like the share menu, the replace menus, native stock and media panels, and we're going to go through all of these locations in more detail today. So let's start with our more general browsing experiences. Every add-on is discoverable in our add-on panel in the Express editor. That's here on the left-hand side. And right around Developers Live last year, I believe we had just released our first version of our Marketplace home experience that you see here on the right-hand side. And since then, we've really focused on driving higher conversion of users who actually come to these locations and then try to install an add-on and try that add-on out in the product on these services by doing things like featuring add-ons in Adobe's picks and creating use case-based collections to help kind of entice users and help them move through these experiences. As a tip for developers, we've also found a few factors that you guys can influence that help users make a decision quickly when browsing our large marketplace. The first one is to try to name your add-on based on the workflow or the use case it unlocks. This positions the value to the user in a much stronger way than when you reference your company or brand in your add-on's name. So giving it that focus, that makes a big difference, especially when it comes to search or users who are just briefly kind of like looking at these surfaces. High quality icons, especially considering that that is the primary visual users see when they're starting to browse, as well as screenshots on the detail page, also make a huge difference. So if you're going to really kind of lean into any of the metadata, the visuals go a long way. And finally, you want to make sure that your add-on has clearly labeled payment details as kind of that last key there. And we've actually found payment details to be one of the main deciding factors for users who are trying add-ons out, to the point where we actually started to up-level this metadata directly on our browse experiences. So as of just a few weeks ago, you'll see that add-ons will have this free or free and paid or free trial label below the add button, making it really easy for users to kind of set their expectations accordingly when browsing. They can also filter by this in the marketplace. So if you haven't updated your monetization details, especially if you have a free add-on, make sure to go and do this in our add-on management experience, because the clearer that is to users, it's just one less obstacle in their way to actually click in, add that add-on, and get going using it in the product. And then finally, in terms of the marketplace, over the summer, we're going to be launching our next series of improvements, basically. So our testing lately has shown a couple important things. The first is that users are often seeking to browse our marketplace via search, but the current search bar placement isn't really visible enough. It's actually really high in the top navigation of Express. So what we want to do to help users kind of more efficiently explore the marketplace is anchor that search bar, make it way more prominent in the UI so they can kind of dive in and get going. And we also want to introduce a new navigation structure to kind of help, again, users move pretty efficiently, move through these different use cases, and browse the marketplace based on what it is they're interested in. We actually know that add-ons that are currently highlighted as part of a use case category, they do get discovered and adopted more than those that don't. So what we decided to do is actually auto-categorize all the add-ons in our ecosystem based on ML analysis, like of the add-ons listing and content, so that we have total coverage. All add-ons will show up in one of these categories, and we will have sub-collections within them that we're sorting basically automatically on your behalf, so that every add-on kind of has that equal opportunity to be discovered based on what the user is most interested in. So we're really excited to roll that out. So now let's talk about some of the contextual experiences for discovering and using add-ons. So again, this is one of our key strategies over the last year. And really, we realized that the best way to introduce users to add-ons is basically present or suggest an add-on that is highly relevant to the current workflow that the user is currently in, right? So we first introduced add-ons in the share menu, I believe it was early last year. And since then, we've started to scale more third-party additions in share. And the core Express team has improved the UI by recommending add-ons above the fold based on a user's document and their user characteristics. And they've also introduced a searchable show all menu. And this really allows us to continue introducing many more add-ons at scale into this menu, because now they can all actually kind of fit in there. And by the way, at the end of this presentation, you're going to see a QR code for a form to register interest if you want to integrate your add-on into share. Some of these locations or some of these workflows, they do require some additional work on the developer side. So we'll share additional documentation and UX guidelines
working on
to help
Adobe
you make.
Express. I've spent most of my career in and around.
Oh, looks like we jumped ahead really quick, but now we're back. Okay. All right, all good. Okay. So the next improvement I want to talk about is actually one of our most successful initiatives thus far, which was expanding the number of add-ons that show up in the media and elements panel. So in addition to our native stock offerings, users can browse curated collections of over 80 add-ons across these tabs. So even though users can find lots of design elements through like our native stock offering, there's still tons of niche gaps like gradients, different kind of QR code makers like Bitly we saw earlier, different specialized content collections for kids, specific industries, 3D design that we just don't cover as broadly as our users need. And in fact, the tabs and elements in particular is currently the most popular way to discover add-ons today. And that's because users really have gaps around illustrations, vectors, and shapes. So the good news here is that actually, unlike the share menu and some of the other contextual experiences I'll show today, we actually do curate this on our developer community's behalf with no additional work from you guys required. We are regularly adding to these collections. So if you build an add-on that has something to do with elements and media, which I would highly recommend you do if you have an idea for it, because it's just such a strong use case in Express today, you should start to see it show up in these panels. And we've already seen a lot of success and strength in how it has boosted adoption of those add-ons thus far. So our next location, as many of you guys may know, Adobe Express has been pivoting more and more to the enterprise segment of users. One workflow that is key to this segment is the replace workflow, because it allows enterprise designers to create templates that are locked down, yet allow image replacements from specific sources. So this enables the designer to hand it off to marketers and social media creators to use templates and make small changes while still staying on brand and using like their approved assets that may be stored in a third party. So add-ons are a key part of this story, and we just introduced the first set of storage add-ons that can be used for image replacement. And then another key business workflow is using Express's native calendar and schedule capabilities for managing social campaigns. One key gap we have in this experience is around analytics. So we partnered with Metricool to build an add-on that can fully insert into the schedule and provide Metricool's analytics dashboards on the user's posts that they're creating through Express. So now I'll have the team play a demo for my colleague, Andy Lambert, to kind of show how this looks in action.
Andy here, Senior Manager of Product working on Adobe Express. I've spent most of my career in and around social media, both building a social media startup and selling that to Adobe, writing a best-selling book on social media as well. And throughout my career, one tool I've relied upon to help me understand the performance of my social media content. And that tool is Metrical, and now we have brought that in as an add-on in Adobe Express. So now when you go into the scheduling area of Adobe Express, you can now look at your analytics here. This will allow you to connect both your organic, paid and website channels so you can truly see at a high level what's driving growth. We can deep dive into each individual channel to see what's moving our metrics and look at the specific posts that are helping us head in the right direction. One of my favorite things is that we can go into each channel and then look at our competitors there so we can get some great inspiration and see what's driving their growth. And finally, one of the things that everyone loves is the automated reporting. So we can batch all of our reporting together in a nice custom template and have that automatically emailed to us every week or month or whatever we so choose. And most of these capabilities that I've shown you today are also entirely free. So it's a fantastic tool to get started to help you understand and maximize your social media growth. Thank you.
Awesome. Shout out to Andy for putting that together for us async. Hopefully he's not watching. He's across the pond right now. So hopefully he's logged off for the day. But anyway, the awesome thing about that unlock is that it is the first time an add-on is running outside the Express editor, right? So this positions us to do many more cool things in the future, like integrate add-ons into the home experience or other modes of Express. And it shows how add-ons can take up even more real estate in the UI. Before I continue, Taylor, am I out of time here? Is that why you've rejoined? Okay.
Space.
Okay, sweet.
I'll bring your slides back up.
Okay, great. Just got a few more things to cover.
Hello and goodbye.
Thank you. Okay, cool. All right, so last but not least, yesterday we just started featuring the very first add-on in a quick action. We noticed that our animate character quick action often had users dropping off without finishing an animation, and we got user feedback indicating that our more professional users in a business context, enterprise context, they wanted to animate a more lifelike avatar or even animate their own photo reading a script. So HeyGen offers exactly these capabilities, and this release allows us to finally test whether users might prefer to explore the third-party capability as opposed to the native quick action. And this is a great example of how add-ons can complement core Express and fill feature gaps supernaturally. And before I go, I wanted to highlight a really exciting platform change that we'll be making in the next couple weeks. So pull back the curtain a little bit. A huge portion of Express users actually come into the product through search engine results and SEO optimized landing pages for common tasks like removing background, creating a flyer or an invitation, or generating photos, right? So this means users are actually often using and trying out Express without having an Adobe ID. They're guest users in our product. Today, those users can't use add-ons at all, which meant our developers were missing out on targeting a huge population of users. And those users may have had a weaker introduction to Express because they couldn't utilize our marketplace. So we're taking the first step by allowing logged out users to use any free add-on in our ecosystem. That's sort of our first phase. If they do create an account with Express, any add-on they tried will be automatically installed for them to continue using. And this is an evolving topic. So I'm really excited to learn from you guys in the community where you would like to see the logged out experience go. And I'm super excited to grow Express's top of funnel through the awesome value that add-ons bring. So I hope you all enjoyed this presentation, learned a little bit more about all the ways add-ons can be explored and used in Express. If you're interested in any of the contextual experiences you saw today, please feel free to scan this QR code. I think Taylor's going to drop it in the chat. And that's going to take you to a form just to submit like some basic information, and our team will follow up with you because, again, some of these do require some like custom or private development on your part. But we look forward to working with you on that and really excited to boost add-ons in 2025 and the years ahead. So thank you all.
Developers Live. Developers Live. Developers Live.